Hello. As we start the new working week, we can expect some very unsettled conditions across many southeastern parts of the UK as it turns very wet and very windy, with some local disruption very possible. But elsewhere across the UK, a much calmer picture. It's going to be largely dry, fine, spells of sunshine and fairly reasonable temperatures as well. So after a fairly dry evening for many of us, it's going downhill across many southeastern parts of the UK as outbreaks of rain spread their way westwards from the near continent across much of southeast England and East Anglia as well. Now, the rain's going to be heavy and persistent, continuing throughout the night, so there'll be an increasing risk of surface spray, even giving some localised flooding. So we do have a warning in force for that. But it's not just the rain, it's also the wind. It's going to continue to strengthen through the night. So by the early hours, we could see some gale force gusts in places, particularly towards the North Sea coast of East Anglia, and that could add to any problems on the roads. Elsewhere, though, across the UK, a much calmer picture, drier and clearer, lighter winds as well. And under those clear skies, I think it's going to turn quite cold through the night. So by the early hours of the morning, temperatures falling fairly close to freezing, particularly towards the glens of Scotland. So all eyes then across southeastern parts to start the new working week, as it's looking like very poor conditions indeed on the road as we see further heavy persistent rain across southeast England and East Anglia, and that's going to give a continued risk of surface spray and some localised flooding, with that warning still in force for that. And those strong winds will continue as well, and that could well impact high-sided vehicles and could affect some bridges as well. So it's definitely worth staying in contact with the forecast with that warning still in force. And the rain just keeps on coming throughout the day. No real let-up of the wet and windy conditions throughout the morning into the afternoon as well. But a very different picture towards the north and the west. It's much drier, it's much brighter, spells of sunshine, just one or two isolated showers in the far west. And in that sunshine and those fairly light winds, temperatures doing fairly well, I think. Highs of 12 or 13 degrees. In stark contrast, though, to the southeast. Under that thicker cloud and rain and that strong wind as well, temperatures struggling to just 6 or 7, well below where they should be for the time of the year, and feeling much colder than that in that wind. So for the evening rush hour, we hang on to those poor conditions, staying very wet and very windy, still the risk of some localised flooding issues. But gradually through the night, that wet weather will start to push its way eastwards, off into the North Sea, still hanging on across parts of East Anglia and Kent, for example. Elsewhere across the UK, a much calmer night once again, drier, clearer, lighter winds, and another fairly cold night for the time of the year. In rural spots across the country, temperatures could fall fairly close to freezing. So it will be another fairly slow start across parts of East Anglia, but quite quickly that cloud and rain will push off into the North Sea, taking the strongest winds with it. And then across the UK, many places getting away with a fairly decent day on Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine and much marked improvement across the southeastern parts through the day, with just one or two isolated showers developing through the afternoon. Later on in the day, though, thicker cloud will bring outbreaks of rain across the far west, particularly Northern Ireland and western Scotland, with a strengthening breeze here. Temperatures across the board will be close to where they should be for the time of the year, and a marked improvement across East Anglia and southeast England by several degrees. So as I said, some potentially severe weather on the way for much of southeast England and East Anglia, with warnings in force for that. For more information on the warnings, you can check out our website www.metoffice.gov.uk.